It's kind of what I think about the election. I haven't been paying too much attention, but just enough to know that poor Joe Biden, he can't even talk anymore. Can't even get the words out. Pretty bad the last few days. he's like got dementia or something else going on. And that's who's running against, for president. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe this is the world we live in. It's just as logical as the moon landing. Just as logical as the moon being a reflector of the sun. We could do some basic experiments that anybody in any household could do. Get a chrome ball and see if it reflects light. It won't. It won't reflect light. And then NASA says that it's also a dirt ball, moon dust, right? Forever sealed in history that it's a dirt ball. It's moon dust. It's like dirt. It's just moon dirt, moon dust. Since when does dirt or dust reflect light, especially onto the earth, and give quite a bit of light when the moon is full? So you got a dirt ball reflecting light. Two things that are impossible, combine them together and it's still impossible. This is not a debate about whether the moon is like a ball or a half sphere or anything like this. It's not the point. The point is they say it's a sphere and it reflects light onto the earth from the sun. I can't believe this is the world we live in. It comes down to it being that simple that these things are a lie. That simple. Round objects, perfect spheres, don't reflect light. It deflects it. It doesn't reflect light. You're not going to find a chrome ball on the road as a reflector because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then you're not going to find a dirt ball that reflects light, let alone a chrome ball. We gave it an advantage, a head start by saying it's chrome, something like that, reflected, like shiny. But it's not. It's a dirt ball. So first of all, a round object doesn't reflect light. A round chrome object doesn't reflect light. A round reflector, a sphere reflector doesn't reflect light. And a dirt ball, dirt doesn't reflect light. And you have the moon, impossible. It's impossible. And where is this light that it's, the moon is like, there it is. There's the moon and it's bright and the light's coming directly from it and coming down on the earth. Where's the sun's rays reflecting off of it? How come it's pitch dark all around the moon except for the moon itself? All the stars are reflections of the sun's light. Really? The sun's way over there on the west, setting way on that side, and the moon's over here on the east, rising. And that's the sun reflecting light. How come I don't see any light anywhere in between, anywhere in the sky? It's pitch dark. Where are those rays, bouncing to the object and out, like a mirror? You could see the light coming to it and then it reflects it. Where is it? It's because it doesn't exist. Just like common sense and logic doesn't exist in politics. It's right out the window. It doesn't exist. I encourage you to vote for the kingdom. This is not a joke. vote for the kingdom and focus on the kingdom, and don't vote. Don't vote. Don't be connected to demons. Don't have your mark, like, look, this is what I did. This is my works when I lived life here. I voted for a bunch of people, for a beast system that's against the people, that will annihilate the people, that keeps them in slavery and lies to them all the time. That's what I voted for. Don't have that attached to your name. Repent and don't vote this time. I haven't voted for years. I'm not going to. I'm not ashamed of it. Not ashamed of it, because that's what it means to be in the world and not of it. Not of it. Let the dogs do what they want. Let the dogs do what they will. Let the filthy be filthy. Let the righteous be righteous. That's all. Then I think I saw something on like Rush Limbaugh or something. I guess he's got cancer. And it doesn't look like he's going to make it. And you got like Savage for years, just, ripping at him, making fun of him. Now he's making fun of a dying man. Just the whole thing is messed up. It's all screwed up. These radio talk show hosts and everything, it's just all deceptive. People think that's where it's at. We're of the truth. We're of this radio show. We believe in this. No, that's not where it's at. That doesn't have anything to do with the Father's truth. Nothing. Doesn't have to do with it. So what's the explanation? I've never seen one. I've never seen one that convinced me. Never seen anything about it. Nobody's worried about it. No one questions it. And it's amazing. You guys actually think that a round dirt ball reflects light? Come on. No. You're just not. You haven't studied. You haven't been in school for 10 years. You don't know what you're. Anybody could prove this. A child could prove this. And anybody could do it for a few bucks. That a round object like that, sphere, does not reflect light, and dirt doesn't reflect light. And anybody can prove that it's not warmer in the moonlight. It's actually a little bit cooler in the moonlight than the shade. It's a little bit cooler in the moonlight than the shade. So let's say the sun was the reflection. The moon was the reflection of the sun. That's its light getting its reflection. It's a completely different light. It's like totally opposite, as opposite as you can get. Warm, cold, warm light, cold light. It's cooler in the moonlight than in the shade. You think you're going to find it, you ever going to find it warmer, cooler in the sunlight than in the shade? No. It's always warmer in the sunlight than the shade, when the sun's directly beating on something. That's totally opposite. How's that the reflector of it? What happened? Some kind of, something happened there when it bounced off the moon. It became cold white light instead of the warm yellow, light that it is. Cool light that has like stronger shadows and is just a totally different kind of light. The kind of light they use in a lot of factories now. Changed it all to 5,000 white LED lights, and it's like zombie land in there. I worked in that for a couple of years. It's a cool light, man. It's moonlight they're putting in these places to make you even more zombie-like instead of the warm light that they used to have, replacing it with cool LED lights. Why? Because it's better? I guess everyone believes it's better now. I've never thought those flashlights that are pure white were better. They're annoying. They don't work better. The warm light works better when you're shining something, looking at it under a car. The warm light's easier on your eyes and you could see better. It doesn't have the white light has like these shadows and it's too bright and reflective, This whole world's deceived everywhere about everything. They say something's good, oh, it's good. And everyone believes it. So you got Joe Biden, you got Trump, you got this Kamala character that's been laughing for years about everything. She just laughs all the time. She just laugh. Everything is funny. It reminds me of that Kenneth Hagin video I saw, like 30 something minutes long, of he was going to do a sermon and then he just starts laughing like demonic, crazy, and can't stop. And then he walks around and touches people and shh, 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 doing his classic snake, like a snake, like a serpent, shh, 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 and then people are shaking faster than I could do it on purpose. Total insanity, demonic, possessed. This whole world's possessed by demons. Even the people that aren't laughing outrageously. The devil has many flavors, many characters. Just because someone's not going, hoo, 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 doesn't mean that they're not possessed. Doesn't mean that they don't got foul spirits in there. And this is what I'm finding everywhere. And I'm finding it, and I just don't want to look anymore. I want to stay away from it because it seems like it affects people even through the internet, through the screen. It affects you, these people that are demon possessed. They hate the truth so violently, and I've seen people, some woman or something, and I had to shut it off. She's just so evil, contradicting, blasting the commandments, blasting keeping the way. Then she says, oh yeah, the grace, saved by grace is, the true Christians won't want to commit adultery, we won't want to murder. 3 seconds before that, you're saying it's a heavy burden, a yoke, and slavery, and demonic from Satan, the commandments. And now you're saying what a Christian should be like? Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. No Christian that believes that has a right to say what sin is. You say it's all demonic and nailed to the cross. It's all heavy yoke and burden and trash. And that you're putting people under slavery by teaching the way, which the way is not reduced to, I believe, I have faith. It's been reduced to that. That's what it's been reduced to. It has nothing to do with who and what you actually are. It's just theology in your head. That's all. And then they say, oh, well, you shouldn't commit adultery. Oh, that's in the Torah. That's in the commandments that you blast, that you say is demonic and satanic. That's demonic, and it's slavery. It's slavery to say don't commit adultery, don't do this, don't do that. It's slavery to teach that, really. Then 5 seconds later, they're saying this is what a true Christian. Can't we see that? Christians shouldn't be doing these things. Yeah, because when they're doing these things, something's wrong. They're in sin. It's not good, right? Based on what standard? Grace? That's the standard? The last 2 videos ago, I made a title, but I changed it because it changed. I still should do it. There's like over 1,000 commandments in the New Testament. Like, even if it's slightly different, you count it for a commandment, whatever. From Matthew to Revelation, if you add up all the different things, how to live, what to do, there's like 1,000 different commandments. It's unbelievable, the hypocrisy. They don't even live by the New Testament or realize all the commandments. If you just followed all the commandments in the New Testament, you would be doing the same thing. You would be living the way, the true way, the narrow way. And then you got quotes repeating a lot of these commandments that you call slavery over there and bondage and evil. New Testament writers are quoting these commandments. It's crazy. How much hate it has convinced me that it's the truth, Everyone hates it. That's what the devil has put into the mind and heart of people for 1700 years, that his way is satanic and slavery and bondage and all this nonsense, when that's actually what you're being freed from, being a slavery of sin. So they can't use Israel's example of escaping Egypt, escaping bondage, that's the liberty Paul's talking about. That's the liberty we got out of Egypt. We got out of bondage of slavery, sin. They forced us to break his commandments, and we were in death and sorrow, and these things weren't good. Now we're getting out of there, and we're free. We got liberty. They use this liberty to say that we have some kind of liberty they make up in Christ or something. It's not liberty to sin. It has nothing to do with that. It's liberty from sin. It's liberty, no longer being a slave to sin. You're either a slave to sin or a slave to righteousness. What is a slave to righteousness for the people that hate the commandments? What is a slave to righteousness? Can they say? That's why I believe in Jesus. That's what slave to righteousness is. Yeah, what does a believer do? How do they live? What's their guide? What's the true way? What's the example to follow? What do they do? What do believers do? How do they live? They just go around saying, I believe, and tell other people believe. Oh, I believe. Okay. Now go on sin and do whatever you want. But remember, as long as you believe, don't believe those people that actually live the way. They're demonic and satanic. Don't be careful with those guys. They don't have a standard because they nailed it all to the cross. There's no standard how to live. There's no standard. They don't even realize that the 10 Commandments are in the Torah, and they nailed the Torah. That's what they actually say, that the law is the Torah, and they nailed it to the cross, even though it doesn't even say such a thing. The debt, law of sin, being in debt to sin, slave to sin. That's been cleared out of the way when you believe, nailed, put to death. So did the Israelites, now after they were freed from Egypt, they were to go back in Egypt after this freedom? Is that what it's teaching? Is that the point and purpose of, believing in the Father? What happened to them? Well, they started sinning soon after they went out of Egypt. They started screwing up. They just didn't have the Spirit in them to do it, to do what's right. And they got punished. And this punishment is spiritual. You're gonna become blinded, full of demons, devils, foul spirits, when you break his commandments on purpose and want to break them, and teach something totally different and heretical against the truth. Can't even realize that, when you carefully read all of Paul's writings, that he takes sin pretty darn seriously. Takes it pretty seriously, doesn't he? No, he didn't want people in the body sleeping with their relatives and stuff, did he? That's not what he wanted. Called them carnal and says, what's going on here? This is, you guys, I'm just ashamed of you, shame for you, You guys in the assembly, in the body, are supposed to correct this person. What's going on here? And you're just letting it go on. Based on what? Based on what sin is. So a believer's not, it's a high standard. It's like they teach like it's some kind of low standard. Like the standard used to be high, now it's not. Standard never went down. Standard's high for a believer. It's a high calling. It's not a low calling to go back into sin and be a slave to it. That's what And that's what you get. That's what people start to believe in their minds, that that's what it is. I'm free, free to what? Free to what? Go murder people now? Murder people in Christ? Commit adultery, idolatry, believe all kinds of nasty things in Christ? That's what you're free to do now? I'm pretty sure that's what Hebrews means, when it says that they count the Messiah for some kind of unholy thing. They don't take sin seriously. Just like, I don't take the election seriously. Whatever's going to happen must happen, will happen. It's all planned. It's going to happen exactly the way our Creator wants it to happen, for his purpose, for his own glory, for his everything. His people, there are not many. Don't worry about his people. There's plenty of billions of people that vote and are in the world and of the world. They'll do that. They'll take care of what dogs take care of. The tiny little 0.01% of people who keep his way, they're not going to have an effect on the system. There's never been many anyways, so don't worry about it. Let the other people vote. There's 7-something billion of them. Seek the election first. Seek the world first and all its worries and cares. That's what the Messiah taught, right? Seek the worries and cares of this world. Who's going to get elected and who's going to be in president, elected for president, and all this Mickey Mouse junk. That's the Mickey Mouse kingdom. That's what it is. It's Mickey Mouse. It's their own demonic, beastly kingdom. Let it take care of itself. It's going to self-destruct all on its own. Don't worry. It'll do that. When it needs to, it will. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to be overly positive in such a cruel, evil, confused, demonic, delusional world, but you have to be somehow. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about what the world does. It's going to do whatever it does, whatever it wants to do. And people they're attached to it, man. They love it. They love their country. They love this world. They love the politics. They love everything. They're worried about it. They're worried about the future. Thought we're not supposed to worry about anything for the next day. Don't even worry about it. Isn't that a command in the New Testament somewhere? Don't even be anxious for nothing. Don't worry about anything. Well, there's one out of 1,000 commands. Who's following it? Who's following it? Who takes that seriously? Who takes that as that's the word of our Creator, and to obey it and not worry about it? Then they say the few commandments in the Old Testament. That's the heavy bondage and yoke and slavery, right? It's what people did with it. It's what people did with it. They made it slavery. They added thousands of things to it. They added and told people what they needed to do. This is what you have to do, and they added to it. That's the heavy yoke and burden and bondage. And they lied. They lied about the way people are brought into salvation. They confused it and mixed it all up and lied. They don't understand that this salvation event happens once in your life, and that's it. One and done. Happens once. You don't believe 1,000 times. You believe once in your life. Now what? Well, you can fall off that path, can't you? Based on what? Based on what you do, based on how you believe and what you do. Paul's not going around teaching, many of those writings, those verses are about that event about believing. And the Jews simply said, no, it's not by that. It's by whatever we tell you to do. And you have to do all these things at once, instantly, and you have to do them first. And all the added things that they added, that's the heavy yoke and burden and bondage. What kind of believer out there would want to trash the commandments and like go against them and say that's some kind of heavy yoke and burden? What kind of believer is that? Doesn't even make sense. It's an unbeliever as far as I can see. But no worries. The kind of people that run the world told you that the moon is, getting its light from the sun and it's reflecting it on the earth. Yet they never told you or showed you how a round object reflects light and how dirt reflects light. They're not going to show you that, are they? Amazing how nobody even questions it during school. All the time they're brought up, years of being taught that, or in college or whatever. No one brings it up. Professor, show me how dirt reflects light. Oh, questioning authority now, huh? Who do you think you are? I'm the professor. You worship me, okay, and keep your mouth shut. I'm following the guidelines that I have to follow because I signed a contract to do this. I can't just do whatever I want. I have to lie to you, and then I'm deceived and make you deceived, and then we can all work and play in the B system and be slaves to it. Good that it's going to be destroyed. Good. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring on the chaos. The quicker this thing is put down to the ground, the better. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of all the snakes getting, appearing to get away with these things sometimes. It looks like that sometimes. But that's who runs the show. That's who runs the world and lies to us constantly and puts us in debt, in a debt-based slavery system. Then they make fun of, oh, it used to be slavery, and they enforced slavery back then, and evil people. Totally blind. They themselves are slaves. They themselves have a master, don't they? That if they don't listen to master kicks you out of the job. Sounds like slavery to me. Sounds like that never went away. Sounds like they don't understand what slavery is. Sounds like they don't understand that they're in spiritual slavery. Slavery to sin, slavery to this world, slavery, to the debt. Everybody's in debt. Whole world's in debt. Amazing. And everyone thinks it's normal and it's good. It's not going to happen in the age to come. I'm telling you, it's not going to be a debt-based system. Debt is evil. You heard it here, maybe even first, sadly. Debt is evil. It needs to be burned. Debt in general is evil, spiritually and physically. When you're in sin, you're in debt. And that's when you believe and have the true faith that debt is wiped out, but it's not wiped out for like past, present, and all the future too. Totally implying that no matter what you do makes no difference in the future. Doesn't matter what you do, future debt's wiped out. That doesn't even make any physical sense, does it? Because what you do physically in this world concerning physical debt does make a difference. You could put yourself in more debt. How's that hard to understand? So with sin, you could put yourself in debt again. That's all I got on this one. It's wicked. Everyone loves it too. They hate the people that don't love it. trash, make fun of, and mock the people that don't love this world. But that's what we expected, right? That's what we get. That's our lot. Tormented like Lot. Righteous man was tormented in Sodom and Gomorrah. This is Sodom and Gomorrah. For anybody that's righteous, this is a hell. This is a torment. To live like this every day and not see anyone else, everyone else living in sin and not giving a crap about anything. Truth. Seeing that they also love this sin and are also one with the world and going right along to get along, so they don't get any persecution or any tribulation or are made fun of. There's nothing I love about this world, this system. And we're not talking about the creation, neither is the true teaching talking about the actual creation. It's the system, the world system, cosmos. Don't be in love with it, or else the love of the Father is not in you. So many of these preachers out there, they might even say some things that might have some truth in it, but they love the world themselves, and it's evident. It's easy for all to see that are of the truth, that they love it, that they're hypocritical and contradicting. That's all I got on this one. You should check out some of Biden's last few videos just for fun, I guess. I mean, it's pretty bad. He was slurring, couldn't say anything right. Like the worst ever. He said some things in the past, but this last few days, there's some videos out now, and he butchered it big time. Like, it's bad. He's going for president, That's why I knew Trump was going to win 4 years ago, but it's just even more evident now that Trump's going to win. And I say that just because he's just going to win. It's not like what I want or don't want. He's going to win, period. Trump has to win. So this thing, somebody in the high places must be laughing, man. The evil people that, probably are getting a kick out of this, watching their puppets like struggle and not even know what to say. Literally delusional and losing their mind. I'm sure somebody's having a good time up there. Anyway, peace. Take care.